Before I bought the Reel Yaks Rocket, I had a few big questions. How stable would it be? Would the pedal drive work as well as I hoped? Would transporting it in my car actually be practical? And would I catch more fish than I did from the bank? After quite a few trips in the water, I think I have a pretty good feel for what this kayak does really well, and there's been a couple things that have surprised me. So let's get into it.
So after 25 trips, here's what I've learned so far. If you're considering a kayak, and even considering a Reel Yaks kayak, I'll give you the insight from what I've experienced so far on everything from the stability, storage, usage, and the pedal drive and how well it tracks. Stick around. If there's anything I don't cover, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them.
So let's talk about launch time and assembly time. One question I get asked a lot is how long does the whole setup process actually take? So I've timed it from the moment I started unloading the kayak until it was in the water, and then again from landing it back on shore until everything was disassembled and loaded back into my car. Altogether, each one takes me right around 11 minutes. And for me, that's a trade-off I'm really happy to make. I don't need a truck or a trailer, and I can just transport it in my sedan. After doing it a few times too, the process becomes really routine, and I'm sure I could shave another minute or two off with more practice and really going at it hard, but I wanted to give you a realistic time rather than my fastest possible run. So overall, I'm really happy.
So one of the questions I've gotten is, how's the stability? Is this something you can stand on? The answer is absolutely yes. Feels really stable. I can cast, I can land fish from standing up. It's a little bit wobbly, but I don't have any issues and I feel perfectly content. Here we go. There we go. Not a big guy. Oh yeah. Fish number 5. There he goes. All right, comfort wise, you're gonna be good for the first 2.5 hours. By that 3-hour mark, I gotta make sure I'm standing up a bit because my butt's getting sore, legs are getting a bit sore. So as long as you're mixing it up, standing up, you're gonna be okay. But in general, one of the things I do plan on getting is a cushion for the seat. Pedal drive system is really nice. So mine came with these foot straps. So you can see the pedal drive house is right in the center here. It's got these 2 locking components where you can lock in your pedal drive. And then if you need to pull it out, this part can be a bit of a pain. So I just need to make sure that the propellers are parallel with the small opening here. So it usually takes me a couple attempts. Sometimes I get lucky. But you can see I've already got some weeds hung up on it. But the good news is they tend not to get caught in the middle. So that's clean and clear. I'll drop that back down. One issue that I've had is it doesn't feel as smooth as I would like. So I ended up emailing back and forth with customer service. Thought I had some challenges with it. It's got a bit of a grindy sound as well. They recommended that I take the whole thing apart, which I did. I had to go to a bike shop to get it completely taken apart. And I purchased some liquimoly, which is some marine grease, and I just re-greased the entire thing since it was a bit dry coming from the factory. It's definitely helped. But my general feedback on the pedal drive would be, I wish it was a little bit smoother. Now I mentioned in my initial video that my kayak came with these seat risers here. I have it on the middle section. If it's on the highest section, I'm actually unable to fit it in my car, and then I've got to take it apart and then redo it, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. So I just keep it in the middle section. Let's talk about the speed and the tracking. I feel really confident getting anywhere I need to go with the speed I can go at. It's comfortable pedaling. I mentioned before there's a little bit of resistance in the pedal drive, but not enough to complain too much about. I mean, this is me going at a really leisurely pace here, and I'm moving really well. So the handle, you've just got to make sure that you set up the rudder handle straight when you're actually putting the rudder on, right before you launch. So if you keep the handle straight, the kayak goes incredibly straight. It handles wind really well. In general, tracking speed, perfectly fine for fishing. Let's talk about what life is like when you want to go frogging and you're going to be going through some really heavy cover. So you're going to have to pull the pedal drive up and then you're gonna pull the rudder up as well. And then you'll just end up using your paddle.
The stock paddle definitely isn't premium. It's a bit heavy and you can't adjust the length, but honestly that's never really bothered me because I'm using the pedal drive probably 95% of the time. I'm actually more impressed with how the kayak paddles than the paddle itself because it tracks really well, moves through the water with very little effort, and even weaving through tighter cover, it still feels really stable and predictable.
All right, so let's talk about storage and just general comfortability on the kayak. I've got a lot of space to move around. I've got plenty of essentially floor space here, deck space to move around. So I'll typically keep a rod here handy. I've got my pliers here, my drawstring here. I've got easy access to my net. It's actually supposed to be a rod holder, but I prefer to use it for my net. I keep my shoes up front. I've got another rod holder well within reach. I've got a small compartment here. I've got my cell phone. I've got another rod holder here. I can move around in my chair. I can access anything that I need. I've got my center storage console here.
One thing I didn't really appreciate before buying the Reel Yaks kayak is how much the convenience changes how often you actually use it. I don't have to think about a trailer or a roof rack or any sort of dedicated storage space. It really fits the way I use a kayak. If I have a free morning or a couple hours after work, it's easy to decide to head out on the water because the kayak just lives in my car when I want it to. Looking back, that's probably the biggest benefit of owning the Reel Yaks kayak, and honestly, it's helped me spend more time fishing than I otherwise would have. Overall, I've been really happy with it. It's not a perfect kayak. I don't think any kayak is. But for someone like me who wanted a pedal drive fishing kayak that fits in a sedan, it's been a great fit. Hopefully this review has helped if you're considering one. I'll keep sharing more along the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.